It's a pleasure to be with you. My name is Danielle. How are you doing?
I'm fantastic. It's a pleasure to be with you as well.
Awesome. So what are your dreams and aspirations in life?
My dreams and aspirations are to create more dialogue around trauma and healing. I created a brand 3 years ago. It's called Heavy on the Self-Love. And I realized that when I started to sell my products in spaces, people started to share, sometimes overshare, and sometimes share for the first time. So then I realized that more work needed to be done. I said, well, what else can I do besides just build this brand? How else can I add value? So we created the HSL project where we go into public spaces that people wouldn't normally see us, to normalize conversations around mental health and healing.
Wow. So how do you keep going when things are extremely difficult and hard for you?
Therapy is important. Going to the gym, putting my life sometimes on do not disturb, because a project like this, you end up absorbing a lot of people's trauma. Sometimes I have to ask myself, the anxiety that I'm feeling, is that me? Or is it because of what someone just shared with me? The depression that I'm feeling right now, is this me or is it because of what somebody just shared with me? So it's being emotionally intelligent enough to take a step away and having a tribe of people that respect when you have to put your life on do not disturb.
Wow. So what is one thing you do every day in order to be able to achieve this dream, goal, and vision?
What is one thing that I do every day?
Yes.
To keep like
the
this
dream,
momentum?
exactly.
I think that it's my commitment and my faith with God, because I know that, none of this is by mistake. It's all by design, and I know that I'm in alignment. So the momentum is just meeting people like you and seeing the potential of what we're doing. That keeps me going.
Wow.
It validates the reason to be out here, even when it doesn't make sense sometimes, because I commute over 2 hours. I'm not from New York. And sometimes I'm like, okay, I could have worked an extra shift and got some overtime. But then I'll meet someone that will say, I needed to see you today. I needed this interaction. You don't know what this did for me. And if it's just that one person, I'm like, okay, I'm doing everything that I need to be doing.
Wow.
Yeah.
Okay, so what is one thing you've achieved now that your younger self will be proud of?
Just being your authentic self. I think we live in a society where we're conditioned to subscribe to certain labels or certain molds, or allowing people to tell us who we are. I've realized that when you do not show up as your authentic self, you actually repel people away from you that you could be attracting to you, because they don't know the real you.
Yeah. Wow. So what is one thing, and second to the last question, what is one thing you've heard or learned that generally keeps you going, that has changed your life forever, essentially?
One thing that I've learned is that it's okay to not be okay. It's okay to not be okay. I think that with just the weight of the world, we're so accustomed to just carrying so much that when you start to, again, normalize these conversations about not being okay, you start to find that there are other people who are not feeling okay too.
Exactly.
Right? So I don't feel like it's an isolated kind of thing, right?
Awesome. And last question, if you could manifest anything into the world right now about your dreams, your visions, your careers, and it will come true, what would that be?
Maybe a society or a world where people are more empathetic, they're more understanding, they're able to extend grace and understand that all of us are here on this journey, right, called life, and sometimes that road or that path is different for a lot of us, and people's difficulties sometimes, most times, don't define who they are. Yeah.
Awesome.
So I think that if I was to manifest anything out in the world, it would be, again, a society that is, or a world that is more understanding and empathetic.
Amazing. Thank you so much
Thank
for your
you.
time.
It was a pleasure.
Yes, and you too. Thank you so much. What's your name again?
Matthew.
Yes. Daniel.
Yes.
Okay, it's a pleasure to be with you. My name is Daniel. How are you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
Awesome. I'm very well, thank you. So generally, what are if there was no barrier, what are your general dreams and aspirations?
I don't know. I feel like on the one hand, just hanging out with my family and spending as much time with family and friends and building relationships with them in that way. And I think on the other hand also doing things that like help the broader community.
Amazing.
And I don't know what that looks like currently.
That's fine. That is okay.
I used to think that was through work, but now I don't know. So
Yeah.
we'll
But
see.
when like fear and difficulty like creeps in, what keeps you going generally in life?
Let's see. I feel like I would say my family. I think they're like a good grounding force for me. I think like they're very understanding for like, at least I'm like, my parents were born in India, then grew up in the US, but like still Indian family. And I
Yeah.
think there's a lot of often pressure to have success be defined only through like work or whatever. And I think
Yes.
that they're like becoming more understanding of supporting me in like being successful in other ways and just being like happy, and that's a form of success.
Amazing.
So I think
Wow.
family helps me with that a lot.
Wow. So what is something you've probably done that your younger self will be so proud of at the moment?
Let's see. I think currently my current job, this is like exactly what I had been wanting to do. I
Wow.
work in like population health, and I get to like work on sort of like providing care for patients on Medicare. And so I really like that. I think that it's like a good way to like learn more about the things that I'm interested in, and still feel like I'm like making an impact through my career in some way. So I think that's kind of like something that my younger self would have been proud of, to be like at the company that I wanted to be at and like doing kind of what I wanted to do.
Yeah. So what is something you've heard or learned that really changed your life forever, or that you just use to navigate life generally?
That's such a hard one. I think that there is no right answer. I like am used to be very perfectionist. I think sometimes still can be. And then my therapist had to like really drill it into me that like there is no one right answer. There is no one right path. So like originally I thought I wanted to go into medicine, and I took the MCAT. I applied to med schools, and then I was like, I just don't know that this is really what I want to do anymore. And I think my family gave me the space to be like, that's okay if that's not what you want to do anymore. And I think like knowing that for me there is no one right path. I could have done that and I could have been happy, and I'm really happy where I'm at now. So there's just like always lots of possibilities, and yeah, no one right answer.
Yeah, so two last questions. Who is one person that has supported you that you want to like shout out or celebrate on this platform?
Let's see. I don't know, probably still my parents.
Yeah, go
Or my
parents.
sister. My sister, I feel like she gets the brunt of my like indecision. I call her quite frequently. She's my little sister, but she gives me a lot of advice on like everything. So probably her.
Yeah. So lastly, if you want to manifest anything into the world right now about either your vision, your career, your progress, anything, and it was going to come true, what would that be?
Oh God. I don't know. I think to just be like happy and satisfied with where I like am at, and to like continue doing things that are like in my mind impactful in the ways that I want to be impactful. So I don't exactly know what that looks like. That's super vague, but I think just something along those lines. Probably.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
Yeah,
I really
thank
appreciate you. Yeah.
Yeah.
Enjoy your
It was nice
afternoon.
to meet you guys. I hope you have a good
too.
afternoon.
Thank you so much. Awesome. Pleasure to meet you. My name is Daniel. How are you doing?
Good. My name is Sanjeev.
Nice to meet you, Sanjeev. So what are like, your dreams and aspirations? Something you really have on your heart you want to do?
In terms of like career goals, or
Yeah, it
like
could be anything. Like, what's the biggest dream or aspiration you have for yourself?
just to live an amazing life and the most free that I can be.
Amazing. So what are you doing every day to achieve that?
Well, just building my wealth, trying to get out there and socialize with people and hang out with my friends and make new connections, and just find people who can really vibe with that.
Amazing. So what keeps you going when things are difficult or very hard?
Well, I mean, I have kind of a view on life that, not in like a bad way that life is meaningless, but like anything can happen in life. I don't have a spiritual view of life. I'm more secular. I would say I'm more agnostic. So it's almost like I'm just like anything can happen any day. So I'm going to keep trying no matter what. And even if things are the worst possible outcome, so what? It is what it is at the end of the day. And there's no meaning to life, and that's both good and bad.
Wow. And is there anything now you've achieved that your younger self will be so proud of?
I mean, like proud of.
Yeah, like looking back at your younger self, anything that you've done now, it could be anything that your younger self just like that. Your younger self will be happy you did it, or just extremely grateful you did it.
I mean, I think I did most of the stuff that I wanted to do since I was a kid. So I guess, yeah.
So, like, what is one big one that you think really satisfied you?
Well, it's hard to say. I mean, I basically achieved most of the stuff that I wanted to achieve, in life. So I can't name one single thing, like, almost most of the things. But, I think if anything, like, I did what I needed to do. It was the people around me who let me down, not myself. I never let myself down. It was the people around me who let me down throughout my life.
I see. I see. So where do you see yourself in 3 to 5 years from now?
Don't really know. No one can predict the future. I just make a plan, try to get that plan going. But as I've seen throughout my life, my plans have been upended. So I just try to fight for the future that I want and not the future that other people want for me,
I see. Is there anyone or anything that you want to shout out or celebrate that has always been that consistent support for you?
Yeah, my parents for sure. My parents are amazing. Even to this day, they support me in every way, financially, emotionally, even though we get disagreements sometimes, they're always there for me. So mom and dad, I call them Amma and Appa in my language. I'm going to shout out to them.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So lastly, if you could manifest anything into the future about your career, about the goals, about the world, what would that manifestation be?
Like realistic or anything I want?
Anything, if it could come true.
A perfect world for everyone, including myself, where everyone, maybe not a perfect world, but just where you have all the good stuff and none of the bad stuff.
Amazing.
Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time.
You're welcome, man.
I appreciate you, man.